Okay, recording. Hello. Um, I'm making a video about the wheel. Remove my background noises on Fed. I've been wanting to make a video about the wheel for a while now. I've been thinking about the wheel for a long time. And I want to get my thoughts out. And maybe we can put thoughts together collaboratively. And I have additional questions. Um, and maybe someone out there has answers that I haven't thought of, or questions I haven't thought of. So, let's start off. What is the wheel? What the hell is the wheel? Well, you can imagine it as a sort of sacred geometry, perhaps, maybe depending on your uh, definition of sacred and also of geometry and your relationship with both of those things. But I did some drawing, so hopefully it'll be easier to follow. But the wheel, I think, is just a useful tool. It's not just a helpful invention that we've been using for a very long time, like fire or the pocket, but the our conceptualization of the wheel, our imagination of the shape of the wheel, might be a way that we can, I have notes, that we can make sense of the uh, way our life moves, and bolster our understanding of the movement of life from birth to death, and also the movement of life from this plane, this physical world, into other worlds. So if you imagine a wagon wheel like this, um, then so like just a very traditional wagon wheel. So what you have here are two concentric circles. So this inner circle and this outer circle. And the first, this inner one, is a sort of stabilizing piece that all the spokes pull out from, like that. Um, beginning and end, and outward and inward doesn't matter, but it does matter here. So we have all these spokes traveling from the inner circle to the outer circle, which is kind of like the terminus of all of the spokes. So why does this matter to us? Okay, so the center, that inner stabilizing piece, this origin, this is birth. So you can imagine the spokes as like emerging from that whole, that nothing and everything into a physical plane. And then from this nothing, you have a movement to birth the wooden circle, physical reality. And then all of these wooden spokes, the beginning of each of these is the beginning of a life. So we can imagine infinite wooden spokes around this infinite wheel. And I do think it's meaningful that the birth is where all of these spokes are physically, spatially closest to one another. And we can talk about this more maybe another time, but this is just a side note, but as you travel, you become experientially distinct in direction from the other spokes, necessarily, and that's beautiful. So emergence from the same whole, closeness at birth, but after coming from the same one nothing everything singularity, you all acquire different visions of the world and of life. I think that's lovely. So all of these spokes travel outwards, and as you're traveling along your spoke, you travel along, maybe you're a little bead traveling along, and the wheel is spinning, okay? And so the momentum of the spin of the wheel drags you along, drags you as a little bead along the spoke towards the outer of the two concentric circles, which is death, the terminus. And with all things, there has to be a sort of edge to it. Maybe there doesn't, though. I started considering this a little more recently, but I think an end to all things is unnecessary in general, but in this physical space there is an edge. But I'll tell you why there isn't also later. So we all travel towards death. the end terminus, and that's great. No avoiding it. We all must reach it eventually. By the very nature of the shape of being, we all got to get there, and it's nothing to be frightened of. And this to me is one of the most important features of the geometry of the wheel. The end terminus, death, connects us all again. So don't worry. If you're worried about becoming like distally separate from other beads on other spokes, we'll all rejoin in the end. But if we're thinking now about the important geometries of the wheel, thinking about momentum and triangles now, and space, the wheel isn't just a wheel, surprise. It's not just two-dimensional, it's a sphere. And so, I don't know if you saw well, but it's a sphere, and here's our two-planar or two-dimensional plane of our wheel here, and we can imagine infinite stacked wheels on top of each other in the form of a ball. So like just imagine there's like infinite of these stacked wheels on top of each other, forming one great sphere. So when we do that, we realize we're not just traveling from birth to death exclusively, trapped in the physical plane, but also, if we want to, we have the power to project our consciousness into other planes. And it's not very easy, perhaps, because the momentum spinning us straight towards death just wants to take us there. But the wheel actually has, within the sphere, some spins and torques to it, I guess, some momentum in other directions, which is great because if you want to, and if you catch a wave, or if you want to and or catch a wave, you can let one of those take you purposefully out from the two-dimensional plane of the wheel, sort of in out from this spoke, let's say, that you're traveling on, into the three-dimensional space, right? So cool. I think that's awesome. And then you can access, you would want to do that because you could there access new understandings of the world around you, and not just the physical world, seeing it from a new perspective, from a new direction, but also better perception of the like spiritual world. Nice. And you can say, well, my vision of my life along this spoke from birth to death is pretty flat. I'm a bit bored or unsatisfied by it. What if there was something else? Well, there always is. And that's good news. Gospel. But one thing that I wanted to mention is that if you are a bead going along a spoke, you might find yourself spinning, like twisting along the spoke. And I'd like to think more about how that happens, but for now, if you're spinning, this could be a good or a bad thing, depending on your perspective. So spinning beads could be great because let's say you have more awareness or ability to visualize presence in other planes, which could be really cool. But it can also be bad because your sense of direction along your physical spoke in your reality, like it could be obscured from you because of your spin. So if you're going in circles, maybe you feel aimless. That I don't think it necessarily implies disorder, but your vision of progress along your own spoke may be distorted. So this is one way that we can just apply the wheel to make sense of a struggle that we all may deal with sometimes. And I also wanted to say that if you're scared by getting more distant from other spokes as you move along and go out from the origin, go out from the source, the singularity, you move away from it, you're also moving towards it. As you're gaining experience of and different visions of your life, and you're going like, oh, what's over there and what's over here and who's next to me? I think enjoy it. I think it's okay and it's good, because what's nice is that you can always hear stories told from other spokes, and share in that way and gain more vision and become close in the upper plane to places and other beads on your same wheel, which is really wonderful. And I think enjoy that distance while you have it in life. Enjoy being to say, like, the only bead with your particular set of visions. Enjoy being unique in that way and having acquired knowledge that is distinct from what anyone else ever has. Like, enjoy it because no one else will ever be able to. And in the end, death does rejoin. You'll sort of tip back. So, origin along the spoke, you tip backwards. Into death, and it'll start all over again. Or maybe not. I'm not pretending to know that. But that's nice. So I think, yeah, the most important elements that I wanted to communicate are the origin, and similarity in the singularity, and then emergence from the void into the physical, and then extension towards death, becoming knowledgeable and unique and beautiful in that way, and then returning to singularity at the end. And very critically, don't forget the sphere. You have always the ability to travel in triangles in any other direction, spinning through the three-dimensional space. Not that it's easy, but it is possible. And again, I think that's great because all of these circles, if you're spinning, it's circles. If you're on a spoke, cylinder, circle. The sphere is one big circle, and so this established shape is wonderful because there's always a way to move around inside a circle or a sphere. And you may not be aware of some of the ways that you're already moving around. So, perception. And if you're a bead, you're a sphere. Um, so, why I wanted to talk about this is because I think the wheel, again, is a great template for understanding problems that you can have in your life or visualizing possible solutions to them. Because if we understand the shape that things take, if we understand their structure, then they become less abstract. And the complexity of addressing whatever issue you're facing is a little bit stepped down. Conceptualization. Yeah, and that's all I wanted to say about the wheel for now. I have 3 more ideas for different videos later. One is about the wheel again, and different forms of outer shapes. And then separately, I wanted to talk about horror and affective thematics. So going into and pulling back down from the third space of fear. And then the last one would be thinking about, well, maybe not last, but for now, like thinking about the lineage and shape of Christ's appearance in Christian Gnosticism, and maybe the idea of Jesus as a cool uncle. Working on it. But yeah, thank you for being here with me. I appreciate it. Have a delicious beverage today. I've been neglecting my coffee. I got this at Niagara Falls this year, or last year. Yeah, have a nice morning, afternoon, evening, or night, and yeah, see you later. Maybe.